A very warm welcome to all of you. Dear students, I hope you all are fit, fine, and healthy at your homes and missing your school too. I am Mrs. Rosie Hussain, your English teacher. I'm happy to share that we have come up with a virtual learning program for you all so that you continue to receive the highest quality of education possible with the resources available to us, and you remain connected with your studies, school, and teachers. So let's get started. Students, this is your English course book, and this is the index. The index consists of 4 units, as you can see. So today I'll be teaching you 1.1, that is the poem Life, written by Charlotte Bronte. Before I start with the poem, let's have a little knowledge about the poetess. Let's see who was Charlotte Bronte. Charlotte Bronte was born on 21st April 1816 in Yorkshire, England. Her parents, Maria and Patrick Bronte, had 6 children. Her father was a clergyman and he sent his daughters to the Clergy Daughters' School. At this school, Charlotte and her sisters endured unsanitary and abusive conditions, and 2 of Charlotte's sisters, Maria and Elizabeth, died from tuberculosis while at the school. After this, Charlotte's father removed his children from the school and tutored them at home. During this time, Charlotte and her brother, Branwell, and sisters, Emily and Anne, began writing stories. Later, Charlotte, Emily, and Anne became important English writers. Charlotte was a governess for several families before she and Emily moved to Belgium, where they went to school. In 1842, Charlotte and Emily returned home. At home, Charlotte, Emily, and Anne began writing again. Since they were women and unsure of how they would be received by the public, they used the pen names of Currer Bell, Alice Bell, and Acton Bell. Emily wrote the famous novel Wuthering Heights, and Anne wrote The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. In the period of 1848-49, Branwell, Emily, and Anne all died suddenly. This was a tragic time for Charlotte, and she was unable to write. As her career progressed, Charlotte stopped using Currer Bell and began using her real name. She also became friends with authors like Elizabeth Gaskell and William Makepeace. In 1854, Charlotte married Arthur Nichols, but within a year of her marriage, she passed away. Life, believe, is not a dream, so dark as sages say. Oft a little morning rain foretells a pleasant day. Sometimes there are clouds of gloom, but these are transient all. If the shower will make the roses bloom, oh, why lament its fall? Rapidly, merrily, life's sunny hours flit by. Gratefully, cheerily, enjoy them as they fly. What though death at times steps in and calls our best away? What though sorrow seems to win o'er hope a heavy sway? Yet hope again elastic springs, unconquered though she fell, still buoyant are her golden wings, still strong to bear us well. Manfully, fearlessly, the day of trial bear, for gloriously, victoriously, can courage quell despair. Life, believe, is not a dream, so dark as sages say. Sages means wise people. So the poet begins with the word life, which is the title of the poem also. It emphasizes the fact that the poem is all about life. According to the poet, we should believe that life is not a dream so dark as sages say. It means that life is not as bad as most of the people believe and say. Now let's see the next two lines. Oft a little morning rain foretells a pleasant day. Now, here the term morning rain is a metaphor which symbolizes sorrow and despair. The line means that despair is often a way to joy and happiness, like morning rain, which leads to a pleasant day. As it is said, when it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. Let's see the next two lines. Sometimes there are clouds of gloom, but these are transient all. If the shower will make the roses bloom, oh why lament its fall? So sometimes there are clouds of gloom, but these are transient all, which means there are sorrows and griefs in the life of every human being, but they are not permanent. They are always temporary and short lived. Like I mentioned earlier also, that no matter how long the night is, the sun will always rise. So, we should never give up. We shouldn't be disheartened. We must be courageous and live life to the fullest. Now, in the final line of the first stanza, the poet raises a rhetorical question. Children, what do you mean by rhetorical question? A question which needs your confirmation. Now here, she knows the answer, but she needs a confirmation. So she is asking a rhetorical question. That is, if the shower will make the roses bloom, oh why lament its fall? It means that if rain can make the rose bloom, then why should we mourn over its fall? In other words, sorrows lead to happiness and should not be lamented. Why should one be upset over the rain when such loveliness comes after it? We human beings too become very sad whenever we face a sorrowful situation or whenever we have some problems. We should think whenever we are in a problematic situation or whenever we come across a problem, we should always think that this problem has come to make us wiser, to bring out the best of us, to make us stronger and brighter. As the saying goes, gold shines best when put in heart. We should actually work on it to make these problems convert into a blessing. So we should stop regretting, rather than we should be thankful and grateful. Now see here, just because things are bad now doesn't mean that they are going to be that way forever. We should remember this. Now moving on to the next line. Rapidly, merrily, life's sunny hours flit by. Gratefully, cheerily, enjoy them as they fly. Sunny hours, that is the happy times of your life. Now, life's sunny hours flit by, which means life is moving ahead very fast, and thus, instead of lamenting the sorrows and griefs, one should gratefully, cheerily enjoy those fast flying moments of life. Here, Charlotte is promoting the way of living, how we should live life. We should always appreciate and enjoy each and every moment of our life. We should be thankful to God. Life is short, time is fast, no replay, no rewind. Enjoy every moment as it comes and be thankful to God. Now let's move on to the next stanza. What though death at times steps in and calls our best away, and though sorrow seems to win over hope a heavy sway. Children, tell me what happens when someone very close to us dies. We become heartbroken, we become sad, we become sorrowful, we lose hope. We feel like everything is over in our life. Through these lines, she's asking, so what if death at times steps in and calls our best away? So what if the sorrow seems to win? Over hope, a heavy sway. The speaker here is acknowledging that these things exist, but she is not allowing them to sway her. My dear children, we should remember that happiness and sadness are part and parcel of our life. It takes a lot of courage to push through hard times, but we should never give up, because we should always remember that good things are coming your way, our way. Here, children, you can see that what though death at times steps in and calls our best away. Here it's a question mark. That is, it's a question. So which figure of speech is here? It's interrogation. Question is asked for poetic effect or for emphasis. Same applies in the next two lines also. Again a question. So the figure of speech here also will be interrogation. Yet hope again, elastic springs, unconquered though she fell, still buoyant are her golden wings, still strong to bear us well. In the next line, Charlotte brings in herself and says that though the sorrows and griefs have bent her down, her hopes our way. Yet hope again, elastic springs, unconquered though she fell. Here, Charlotte, the speaker, she is saying that at times we feel, when we are very sad, we feel that as if there is no hope. But she says that we should never lose the will and determination, because hope is elastic. Just like elastic, you have seen how it is. You can stretch it and then again it comes back. Similarly, here she is saying that hope is elastic. It can be bent but by the sorrows. It can be bent by the sorrows but cannot be broken completely. It retains itself. Hope retains itself after the clouds of gloom go away. After the clouds of gloom go away. Now let's see the next two lines. Still buoyant are her golden wings, still strong to bear us well. Here, Charlotte brings in herself and says that though the sorrows and griefs have bent her down on her hopes, she still has her golden wings, which are capable of flying even after griefs have bent them down. She still can bear all the hurdles of life as she is strong and fearless. Remember, life is an exam and its result will be announced on the judgment day. Work hard to pass it, because in the case of failure, there is no chance for reappearance. Students, now let's check out the last few lines of the poem. Manfully, fearlessly, the day of trial bear, for gloriously, victoriously, can courage quell despair. Children, God has sent us in this world to pass out the test. Now, this test is put up by God. And if we will get up strongly after falling down, then only on the day of judgment we will be able to face God courageously and victoriously. Getting my point? So here Charlotte says that she can bear all the hurdles of her life as she is very strong and fearless, despite all her sorrows. And on the day of judgment, her courage will make her victorious. So, thus, we can say the poem ends with a strong will, hope, and determination that good will ultimately come to her. Students, through this poem Life, Charlotte has conveyed a very strong message of optimism. She clearly stated that life is full of ups and downs, and she encourages the readers, everybody, whoever is reading this poem, she encourages everyone to move all odds and move ahead in life. To move ahead in life. Remember, children, life is not about waiting for the storm to pass. It is about learning to dance in the rain. Because if we stop dreaming, we stop living. I hope you all liked the poem. So now let's discuss the figures of speech. First here is metaphor. Metaphor is a figure of speech in which indirect comparison is made. It is also called implied simile. We will see the first example. Oft a little morning rain foretells a pleasant day. Morning rain is a metaphor which symbolizes sorrow and despair. The next example, sometimes there are clouds of gloom. Again, clouds of gloom refers to darkness or sorrows of life. Let's move on to the next figure of speech, that is personification. Personification is a figure of speech where human quality is given to a non-living thing. Let's see the examples. First one, death at times step in. So here death is given the human quality of stepping in. Second one is sorrow seems to win. Sorrow is given the human quality of winning. Third is yet hope again, elastic springs. Unconquered though she fell. So again here hope is personified. Can courage quell despair? Here again courage is personified. Next figure of speech is interrogation. Question is asked that I have already explained previously that interrogation is a figure of speech where question is asked for poetic effect or for emphasis. The first one, if the shower will make the roses bloom. What though death at times step in and calls our best away? What though sorrow seems to win over hope a heavy sway? So next we have another figure of speech, that is euphemism. Euphemism is a figure of speech wherein harsh, unpleasant or blunt ideas are substituted with mild, polite words. Let's see the examples. First one, and calls our best away. So, and another example is given here. He knew the time for his final journey was fast approaching. So, here it is euphemism wherein harsh, unpleasant ideas are substituted with mild words, mild, polite words. I hope you all liked the poem and enjoyed too.